take a moment to take in the view and welcome you this morning to this virtual sacred space. There's about 67 of us here this morning, 67 sign-ons, more than 67 people. And our special guest, Peter Mayer, is with us this morning to provide special music. Good morning, Peter. He really doesn't need an introduction because I think all of you are familiar with him and his music. He's been here more than a couple of times, and as a Minnesotan neighbor, it feels like we should say, welcome home, Peter. We're glad to have you with us.
Thanks so much.
We wish that you could come and play in the fall weather instead of going out and playing in the snow. As we move into the beginning of our service this morning, I would ask that you all remember to mute yourselves so that we can have the best visual and sound experience today. So with that, we'll move into beginning the service. There's a little bit of an irony this morning that I did not plan. I promised this, I did not plan, but the title of our service this morning is Attentiveness in a World of Distraction. And apparently, and I have not experienced this morning, but during religious education, the world of the internet or Zoom was giving us a longer than usual time lag. So you may or may not experience that. And so I would invite everyone to just take a deep breath and not be distracted by that, to just go with the flow this morning and know that you'll hear everything and you'll see everything, even though sometimes they might not line up. That's the way things happen sometimes. So welcome, and with that, we'll begin our service.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Kathy Slade, and I serve on your Fellowship Board of Directors. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors with us today. Please stay on after the service for our virtual coffee hour, where you may introduce yourself if you're comfortable and join in our conversation. Your UUFA Board of Directors voted unanimously to extend the closure of the Fellowship Building indefinitely. The board will continue to have periodic check-ins and stay tuned to the recommendations of the UUA and community health experts. This shift allows us to develop further engagement in virtual space, rather than remaining focused on reopening timelines and procedures while our community is still at risk. We are committed to providing a safe environment for all who call our fellowship home. While it's hard to be apart for so long, we are reminded each Sunday that the building may be closed, but the fellowship remains open. Please check the UUFA website for a complete schedule of various ways you can be connected throughout the week. So on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for being here.
Each week we begin our service with the ringing of our chime 3 times, after which we sing and light our chalice. We ring the chime to wake the chime, and a second time to open our minds, and a third time to open our hearts.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem, for the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
chalice lighting is by Jessica Rodella. Listen, listen to the silence. Listen to the wind. Listen to the stars. Hear trees. Dance, dance to the beat of your neighbor's heart. Dance to the rhythm of your childhood dreams. Come, let us howl our hallelujahs. Come, let us pray and sing and celebrate. Come, let us be together and listen.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem, for the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
It's so good to have Peter with us this morning, and I look forward and welcome you, Peter, as you offer your first song this morning, John's Garden.
Thank you, Kent. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you all today. It's a joy. And I'm here in chilly Minnesota. It's even chillier than Iowa, I think. And it's snowing outside, but doggone it, I'm still in the Halloween autumnal spirit. The time when the veil is most thin between the here and the after, life, which Unitarians don't really traffic in, but it's a fun it's a fun thing to think about this time of year, ghosts and goblins and pumpkins. And I love carving pumpkins dearly. I love jack-o'-lanterns and how the personalities come out of these pumpkins. And years ago, I wrote this song, which is a contemplation about pumpkins in the pumpkin patch, thinking, gee whiz, if you're a pumpkin in the pumpkin patch and somebody tried to describe to you what Halloween was, would you want to participate? Or would you rather just live out your days in peace in the pumpkin patch? And I knew I had hit on an important existential question. And so here's a song inspired by those strange ideas called John's Garden. Farmer John wandered back, and when he reached the pumpkin patch, began to speak. He said the weather's getting colder, summer's over and it's almost Halloween. That's the day, the reason you were raised, when everything about your life will change. You will have eyes to see, and for that night you'll be a bright lamp burning in the darkness. Remember that candle shines for only the briefest time in a jack-o'-lantern's heart. Pumpkins held a meeting then. Some were very apprehensive and afraid. Could this really happen to us? What could be the meaning is what they were saying. This is home, it's all we've ever known. Then one bold, outspoken pumpkin spoke. He said, I don't need eyes to see. Sounds like a lie to me. I like it just fine here in John's garden. for that candle shines for only the briefest time in a jack-o'-lantern's heart. There is much to ask, to ponder in the pumpkin patch when imposing old October shows up at last. Then a pumpkin from the farther end, who had been silent up to then, over the commotion said, "What would you rather have, my friends? A chance to shine, or die here on the vine? The better way seems very plain to me. You will have eyes to see, and for that night you'll be a bright lamp burning in the darkness. And baby, that candle shines for only the briefest time in a jack-o'-lantern's heart. Oh, but one goblin smile should make it all well worthwhile. You know, you might even see the starlight. Knowing that time is brief makes it that much more sweet. You have a jack-o'-lantern's heart. You have a jack-o'-lantern. La 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 la.
Thank you, Peter. This month, our offertory recipient is the Ames Public Library Friends Foundation. At the end of the service, you'll have the opportunity to go to our website with a /give and make a donation to this organization that helps support the Ames Public Library through volunteering, fundraising, and advocacy. We have a wonderful library, and as always, thank you for your generosity in supporting our offertory recipient. The time for all ages this morning is a story called Every Color of Light, written by Hiroshi Osada, illustrated by Ryoji Arai. It is a story about rain and how it can darken the skies, fill the air with its special sounds, and make everything gleam and sparkle. It is a story that invites you to listen with all of your senses. It is a story that invites you to listen with your imagination. Look, it's raining. Pitter patter, pitter patter. The rain gets louder. Wetter and wetter, the blues darken, so do the greens. The wind whips, the rain slants, heavier and heavier. The rain gets louder now, cracking and crashing. The thunder roars, boom, ba-ba-boom. Inevitably, lightning strikes. Colors run across the leaves and swirl in the wind. Whoosh, swish, shh. Just as quickly, it's over. Look, no more rain. Shimmering, light fills the sky. The blues are blue again, and the greens are green. Setting, the light turns everything golden. Stilling, the water shines silver. A beautiful evening spreads across the sky. It settles over the mountaintops. There you are, white moon, and you, first star I see tonight. The birds return home as shadows darken beneath the trees. Falling, night fills the sky. Flickering, the stars begin to sparkle. After the rain, the sky is full of stars. Shining, they share their stories. Good night, spirit of rain glowing in the sky. The bunnies hop into the bright white moon. We're all falling, falling, soundly, soundly asleep. Asleep. We welcome Peter back for a second tune, The Beauty of the World.
That was beautiful. I think that for me, the beauty of the world has been an important thing to be in touch with, especially through this COVID time. My girls are 9 and 13, and I've had so many wonderful moments just getting outside, which is, of course, one of the best options we have these days, is just to go outside to retain our sanity and to reconnect with everything around us. And I found it very important to keep the news at arm's length. I don't want to be completely uninformed, and yet to protect my joy and my sense of the magic and wonder of life. I've found that to be helpful too. So I think this song is in the spirit of that. This is called The Beauty of the World. If you look to the daily news so that you can stay attuned to what matters, you might find that headlines don't describe the beauty of the world. So if you hang your head straight out of bed because you read the doom and gloom and got discouraged, ignore your computer screen and look to see the beauty of the world. Beauty like the sun come down, beauty like the seed in the ground, rising and reaching out, reaching for the sky. Beauty like the life in the land, moving in your own two hands. Beauty like the wondrous chance to be alive. If you're down to your final dime and can't decide what else to buy to be happy, you don't need a credit card to give your heart the beauty of the world. And if you walk the street with tired feet, bending underneath the grief that you carry, lay the weight you brought along down upon the beauty of the world. Beauty like the wind in the trees, beauty like children's dreams, beauty like the sound of steeple bells when they ring. Beauty like ties that bind us, beauty like acts of kindness, beauty like the light inside of everything. Beauty like the sun come down, beauty like the seed in the ground, rising and reaching out, reaching for the sky. Beauty like the life in the land, moving in your own two hands. Beauty like the wondrous chance to be alive. If your whole shtick is tragic hip, but you are sick of being such a big cynic, you can try out a joyful shout and sing about the beauty of the world. And if you don't like to have to wait and think your chances aren't great to get to heaven, maybe one way to save your soul is get to know the beauty of the world. Get to know the beauty of the world. Get to know the beauty of the world.
Thank you, Peter. Our opening words this morning come from Reverend Scott Taylor. Who we listen to is who we become. Sometimes it can be so loud, hard to hear those voices you once knew so well, voices that knew you so well. It's said silence heals us, but silence also holds us together. So pause while we can, while this sweet space gives us room to listen, to hear the echoes of memories that make us whole, the pain of others that reawakens our hearts, the beauty of wild woods that want us back. We don't just listen for clarity and guidance. We listen to become larger. Those voices calling us home are our home. We don't have conversations. We are our conversations. We must remember, friends, who we listen to is who we will become.
Each week, we take time in our service to share milestones from our lives, significant things that are bringing us joy or challenge or gratitude. When I take the screen share down, I invite you to, if you have a milestone to share today, to introduce yourself, briefly share your milestone, and let us know when you're done. Being mindful that there is the time lag, so we'll be extra patient with each other this morning. This is our time of sharing.
I'm Ronnie Kahn, and my son and daughter-in-law just got a puppy yesterday, and my granddaughter is so unbelievably excited. She just couldn't leave the puppy alone, even when it was trying to sleep. And I'm so happy that there's something in her life that really gets her excited during these times. That's it.
And also be aware that you'll stay on screen until the next person speaks.
Good morning. Speaking to you here from New York. I missed your service last week because I attended the local service here the congregation at Rock Tavern as they celebrated their 150th anniversary, going with a movie going back to their roots with the Adams, John and Abigail, that would be, and members of that family going to the Delanos. It was very interesting, but I missed you last week. That's it.
I will happily follow Mrs. Peck. I just want to share how wonderful it is to have 2 of my 4 sons in Ames. My second son, Chris, moved back to Ames after living in Venice Beach, California for 13 years. And it's really been great to be able to reconnect and spend time with him. And his younger brother, Tom, is really, really, really happy to have a brother he can do stuff with. I'm done.
Also, please remember to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I always forget. Susan Norris. Do I need to go now, or did you hear what I said?
Nope, we heard you.
Good.
I think Irv Klaus is with us this morning. I can't see everybody, but I had a nice conversation with Irv yesterday, and he wanted you to know that he is in the medical center at Green Hills. And although he is out of quarantine and can have company, limited company, we would ask that you not visit without contacting him first. It's a small room, and we want to make sure that we keep Irv safe. And also, he would love hearing from you if you would like to send cards to Irv at Green Hills.
May I chime in with a little
Please.
something?
Please.
I wanted to share with you all this beautiful thing that happened in my neighborhood this past week. We have a girl across the street, a 17-year-old, who's been diagnosed with a very serious form of cancer. And so my other neighbor had the idea to not only take up a collection amongst the neighbors, but asked her what her favorite color is. And of course asked her parents if this was okay. And she said it was teal. And so he managed to find some teal light bulbs. You can select different colors on these light bulbs. He bought a bunch of them online, and he handed them out to all of probably 20 of us neighbors. And so we put the light bulbs in. Many of us have lanterns in our front yards or on the garage. And so when you go down the street now, you see all these teal lights. I was so touched by that. I just think it's a beautiful show of love and support and community, and what a wonderful idea. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Are there any additional milestones to share this morning? For those milestones that have been spoken aloud, and for those that we carry in our hearts, know that whatever brought you here today, whatever you are carrying in this community, no one ever needs to make the journey alone, and you are loved. With that, let's be together in a moment of silence. It's good to be together. With the election a little over a week away, For our candle of hope this morning, I offer Prayer Ballot by the Reverend Luke Stevens Royer, who serves the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Rochester, Minnesota. I walk in as on pilgrimage. The altar cloths are red, white, and blue. The ushers are the women who have been running these things, who have been running everything since before I was born. I'm handed the ballot like a scroll because the questions seem that important, ancient and modern, of what my God and country ask of me. Who? Who for commissioner, mayor, president? Who for District 8, Ward 7, school board? Who will do justice, love, mercy, and walk humbly? I make my mark with at least a shred of hope that something good will come from this. And regardless, I remember the world won't be destroyed entirely by this. The world won't be saved entirely by this. Marking my vote is like kneeling in prayer, because neither will accomplish anything right away. But the purpose of both is to remind me of my deepest hope for the world that I am trying to help create. So I rise from prayer and turn in my ballot and remember the who is me and us and we, the people. And again, I set to the task that is mine: justice, mercy, humble service in my small corner of the world.
Our reading today is titled How to Listen by Joyce Sutphin, who is the Poet Laureate of Minnesota. Tilt your head slightly to one side and lift your eyebrows expectantly. Ask questions. Delve into the subject at hand or let things come randomly. Don't expect answers. Forget everything you've ever done. Make no comparisons. Simply listen. Listen with your eyes as if the story you are hearing is happening right now. Listen without blinking as if a move might frighten the truth away forever. Don't attempt to copy anything down. Don't bring a camera or a recorder. This is your chance to listen carefully. Your whole life might depend on what you hear.
Once again, Peter Mayer and his song, Come Back.
Thank you, Kent. This song was inspired by a man named Albert Whitehat, who was a Lakota teacher and passed away in recent times, but has a number of YouTube videos out. And my brother, who is very, very deeply interested in Native American spirituality, told me about him. And I was listening one time to Albert's teaching, and he talked about a moment that he had one time standing by a tree, sort of in front of a tree, and imagining the tree saying to him, "Come back, come back," as if it were calling him back to nature. And as we all know, sometimes we human beings, especially in modern times, have an awkward relationship with the natural world because we surround ourselves with contrivances of, very comfortable contrivances of climate-controlled homes and devices, and but all of it has the potential of drawing us away from feeling the connection that we have to the natural world, the place where we come from. This is our place of origins, the world itself, of nature. And so this song was inspired by that idea of nature calling us back to itself, and it's simply called Come Back. I'm gonna move my mic down. I hope it doesn't make too loud of a bump for you all here. Sorry, tuning. Makes you wish I played the piano. I tried to tune in between things here. Okay, let's try that. I was born the son of storms, brother of the sea. There are shards of ancient stars inside my hands and feet. Old mountains know me, old stones can tell my story, and wolf and loon and sun and moon call me family. But cars and roads have shod me so I cannot feel the earth. The city's hum steals me from the cradle of my birth, and creeds loudly spoken tell me earth is not my home till I'm cut off and all but lost in this modern world. Come back, calls out the ocean. Come back, murmur the trees. Come back, whisper the blades of grass along the path. They say come back. Lay me down upon the ground beneath the countless stars. Send me wind upon my skin and rivers through my heart. Great powers around me, help me feel you and help me see that urban dreams and their machines cannot keep us apart. Come back, calls out the ocean. Come back, murmur the trees. Come back, whisper the blades of grass along the path. They say come back. Come back, calls out the ocean. Come back, echoes the breeze. Come back, whisper the blades of grass say come back to me. I was born the son of storms, brother of the sea.
Thank you, Peter. Let's take a moment and just take a deep breath or two into the comfort of the invitation to come back. One more breath. Deep listening is the theme that has guided our time together in virtual sacred space and in our small group listening circles this month. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to participate in a listening life. When we listen carefully and deeply to another person, we are living into our covenant to affirm a person's worth and dignity, and our own too. Deep listening contributes to justice, equity, and compassion in our relationships. And when we listen deeply without thinking about how we will respond, we are being responsible as we seek truth and meaning and the real possibilities that we might be changed. Listening should be at the heart of our spirituality, our relationships, and the mission of this fellowship: to grow spiritually, create community, strive for justice, and learn to love. The first sentence in The Listening Life by Adam McHugh contains 3 words: listening comes first. How would our relationships change, and how would we change if we approached every situation with the intention of listening first? He suggests that while we accept that seeing is believing, for the most part, hearing is believing. In a sermon titled, "Are You Listening?" the Reverend Chris Mueller tells a story that exemplifies how a lack of attentiveness and a lack of deep listening can lead to people overly speaking their minds and asserting themselves. And the story goes like this. A middle-aged man was distraught over his wife's stubborn refusal to admit that she was having a hearing problem. So in his mind, it made sense that he went to the family doctor first for advice on how to convince his wife that she has a hearing problem. The doctor promptly told him that when he got home, he could confirm this hearing problem by opening the front door and from there asking, "Honey, what's for dinner?" Then the doctor said, if she doesn't answer, move closer to the kitchen. Repeat the question again. And if she still doesn't answer, move right up to her ear and whisper it in her ear. "What's for dinner, honey?" In this way, the doctor assured him, she'll have to admit that she has a hearing problem. So the man went home with joy in his heart, and he opened the front door. "What's for dinner, honey?" he asked. His wife made no reply. So he moved closer to the kitchen and asked again, "What's for dinner, honey?" Again, nothing was said. And when he looked in the kitchen, sure enough, there she was at the kitchen counter, so he tiptoed right over to her and whispered directly into her ear, "What's for dinner, honey?" She turned and looked him straight in the eye. "For the third time, I said we're having meatloaf. Do you have a hearing problem?" This story makes me laugh, but it also reminds me to listen deeply and be more attentive, especially when, like the husband in the story, I start thinking that I have independently and correctly identified a problem and move forward with my best solution without including those involved and listening deeply to them. As McHugh suggests, we have a tendency to speak in volumes and listen in snippets. To make matters more challenging, we are bombarded with distractions almost constantly. Many distractions, especially those related to the upcoming election, have me seeking isolation and shelter. The noise of the external world shifts into an internalized, reactive, and often angry distraction. I stop listening. I stop listening to everyone and everything. I stop experiencing the beauty of the world. As Pete sang a few minutes ago, the headlines don't describe the beauty of the world. If we try to be intentional about listening beyond the distractions around and within us, we might experience beauty, like the wind in the trees, like acts of kindness, like every color of light, like the beauty of being alive. Experiencing beauty in the world provides comfort and more balance in our lives, and this allows us to remain attentive, more attentive to the people around us and to the world, if we only remember to seek it out. We are learning how to live through the distractions. McHugh writes, "We learn how to listen because we want to learn how to love. We want to learn how to practice hospitality, how to truly welcome people into our lives. We want to be story hearers, not just storytellers. We want to find the internal quiet and stillness that will open us to being changed. We want to learn how to listen because we want to become more human." He offers 4 reasons why we consciously and unconsciously close the doors of listening. We are filled with noise. It's difficult to achieve inner silence needed for true listening when we're filled with noise. The absence of inner quiet may indicate a resistance to quiet. We're lonely. Loneliness drives us to talk about ourselves to excess and to turn conversations towards ourselves. That loneliness can keep us from listening and others from listening to us is a tragedy, because being listened to is one of the great assurances in the universe that we are not alone. We are afraid to change. To listen is to be open to change. Fear keeps us from listening. And finally, we're fragmented. Listening requires being present and paying attention. We can be physically present with someone while our minds and hearts are miles away. The opening words by Scott Taylor tell us that the sort of people we become is in part determined by the voices we choose to listen to. Adam McHugh would add that it's also a matter of whether we will choose to listen to different voices, voices that don't sound the same as our own. Will we listen to the voices of different cultures, ethnicities, backgrounds, and beliefs? Will we listen to the voices that unsettle us and make us feel anxious or guilty? If we choose to listen only to the voices that echo our own, we will be limited in our growth and stunted in our spirituality. And sometimes we just simply need to slow down. As Madeline L'Engle puts it, when I am constantly running, there is no time for being. And when there is no time for being, there is no time for listening. By quieting our minds, we provide the workshop for listening to ourselves, our emotions, our bodies, our deepest questions about life, and the meaning of it all. We become better equipped to listen to others and the world. We close this month of deep listening at the same place where we began, with the poetry of Joyce Sutphin. Forget everything you've ever done. Make no comparisons. Simply listen. This is your chance to listen carefully. Your whole life might depend on what you hear. Amen, and blessed be, and may it be so. Our closing song today by Peter is one that you are very familiar with, and I encourage you to make sure that you have yourselves muted, because I'm sure many of you will be singing along with him.
Low below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue home.
Thank you, Peter. As we extinguish the chalice this morning, I share the words of Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. This morning we remember our partner church in Torredalba. If you wish to make a gift to the offertory recipient, the Ames Public Library Friends Foundation, complete your pledge, it's still not too late, or make another donation to Black Lives Matter or our partner church. Please visit our website, and thank you for your generosity. And this morning, I just want to offer a really special thank you to Peter Mayer for sharing your music with us and your gifts of humanity and connection and beauty, and the reminders that there is a lot of beauty in the world, even during times of distraction.